Saturday evening, Manitoba Opera began their season with Mozart's Don Giovanni. This exciting new production, directed by Oriel Tomas, features a stellar cast of voices, including Monica Huisman and Andrea Lett, both of whom have joined me in the Diamond Lane. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome back to Classic 107. I want to begin by congratulating you both on Saturday. It was marvelous.
Thank you.
How'd it feel?
Great, actually.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun. It's been a fabulous production, like from start to finish, all through all the rehearsals, and it was really exciting. There was a lot of energy, a lot of adrenaline. It was good.
Everybody brought their A game. Like, it was a short rehearsal period, and Dan came in a week late, which is fine because he's terrific and he's done it so many times. It was like add water and stir kind of thing, but the rest of us were just playing a little bit of catch up. So Saturday night, we all just brought it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that energy on the stage definitely translated to the audience too. Like, you could just feel the buzz. Everybody was just so excited to be there and see this production. And of course, it is very striking, and we're going to be talking about that in just a little bit. But Andrea, this was your Manitoba Opera debut.
Yes.
That was very exciting, and I imagine made it all the more special given that you were sharing the stage with your former voice instructor.
Yeah, that was when I first got the offer. It was, and I found out that Monica was doing the Donna Elvira. It was, I don't know, it's always every student's dream to be able to share the stage with their teacher, I think, and to be able to work with them and all the things that you guys have talked about over the years. It kind of you see that coming to life in both their performance and your performance and in the chemistry that happens together. So that's pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, Monica, and your career has taken you from Amsterdam's Concertgebouw to Guatemala City with performances across the country. At the same time, you've been at the U of M, kind of growing with the next generation of singers. I imagine you've shared the stage with past students before?
I have, but not quite in this capacity.
Yeah, what's that like?
Well, it's like I said to Andrea, I tried not to cry while I was on stage. I mean, you hope the best for all of your students that come through your studio. You give them everything that you can, and really it's up to them to, keep working at it, be hungry enough, want it enough, drive, determination, all of that stuff. And I knew from the first lesson I had her in my studio that this was, other than her language ability, but she'll probably talk about that. I just knew she had the talent, she had the drive, she had the right headspace, the right, the package you need. It's not an easy job. It's not an easy career path. So Saturday night was very, very special for me, and she just made me so proud.
Well, I remember the very first time Andrea sang at the Faculty of Music in a master class. And not oh dear, no, it's a good thing. And I remember all of us who were sitting together turned to each other and we're like, oh, she must be studying with Monica, because we were still trying to figure out who was with whom, and we were trying to figure out what was going on. Monica, I'm a little hesitant to ask you, but you mentioned it. What was it like working with Andrea in those early days? Really, how do you feel like it grew and her voice grew, but at the same time, there's just something that jived right from the get-go, at least I feel like.
Totally. Yeah. Well, the thing about Andrea, when she first came in to sing for me, I'll never forget this. It's like she had, and I mean this in the best possible sense, she had 8 different voices. She could do doily cart, G&S, and she could do this, and she could do this. And I just went, wow, okay, so the only thing we need to do is line all of these up, and then the stars will align, and wow. From top to bottom, this is going to be exciting. So we spent most of our time, I would say, just lining the instrument up. Mm-hmm. The color, the quality, I mean, the shimmer, all of that stuff was there. It was just lining the voice up, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I remember the third year we worked a lot on middle. The fourth year we worked on high. It was just figuring out where the voice was happiest and how it worked. My favorite story is that I couldn't tell the difference between German and Italian when we first started.
Very similar languages.
Yeah. And I was just I don't know. It all just sounds like not English to me. And Monica was like, oh, no. I'm sure her skin was crawling a few times.
No, it was your honesty. I thought, okay, well, now I know what I need to work with and on. And no, it was definitely a journey, and I knew when she was done with me, if she had the chance, the opportunity to go study with Mary at U of T, I said, you need to take this opportunity.
Well, that's one thing that I really wanted to touch on was that, in an undergrad, I feel like it's all about finding your voice and lining things up, and then after that, taking the next step. You both went through the studio of Mary Morrison.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not saying that if you go study with Mary, good things are going to come, but what is it about Mary Morrison that is just so special to young singers?
She just has that way. the incredible knowledge she has of the voice and the simple approach she takes to helping you develop your instrument. She's not complicated.
Yeah.
And she is gentle. She's kind. She's insistent. She doesn't coddle. You know, she says it the way that it is, but in such a way that you just have no choice but to bloom. Would you agree?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's also the way she leads by example too. She listens to everyone. She has good things to say about everyone. She goes to everything.
Yep.
Even if her students aren't there performing, she just and she knows who everyone is. Like she knows who everyone is in Winnipeg, in Toronto, in like any, like she'll just
to be that current. You know, and to still be doing it. And I mean, I still have a hard time with her age. She just had a birthday, and it's like, no, I just saw her a couple weeks ago for a lesson, and we're hanging out, and it's like, you know, you're going to be here forever.
Yeah.
You know, and I pray that she is. But when I have a student like Andrea, it's like, and Mary's still teaching. It's just take the time. Take the time, spend the time with Mary, because we don't know how long Mary's going to be teaching yet. So Pearls of Wisdom, there's a lot of fine teaching in Canada. You know, you'll always have a chance to hopefully study with other people. And Mary was also, what I appreciated about her was, it wasn't her way or the highway. She encouraged us always to study with other people and coach with other people. And there's something to be learned from everybody, which is, I think, what makes her such a great teacher. Because I say to my students all the time, I'm just going to give you what I think. It's your job to sift through it, you know, take what works for you, apply it, and just get rid of the rest. You know, not everything works for everybody. It's your journey, it's your voice.
Yeah.
And you get to know it best.
And at a certain point, you have to take ownership of your own artistry. And if you're constantly waiting for someone to tell you what to do and how to go about and how to sing, you'll never be your own singer. You need to be able to have that filter and have that.
What's the transition from being a student to being an artist?
Yeah.
And that's a fine line to walk on, especially when you're still in school.
Yeah.
But you're developing artistry. Once you're past your undergrad, you're developing your artistry. So it's exactly what you said.
Yeah. Beautifully put. If you're just tuning in, my name is Simeon Rusnak, and I'm chatting with Monica Huisman and Andrea Lett here in the Diamond Lane, both of whom you can find on the Centennial Concert Hall stage this week, performing in Manitoba Opera's Don Giovanni. Monica, you're singing the role of Donna Elvira.
Yes.
What can you tell us about the character?
Oh boy, her character. I think she's incredibly smart. I think she has put her heart on her sleeve, and she fell in love with a guy thinking that he was the guy for her, not knowing his past. And I think she loves deep and she loves fierce. And that shows through the entire arc of the opera when she just doesn't understand what happened. Like her first entrance is like, how did you just declare me your wife and you left me? So her head is kind of spinning through that. But I also think she's incredibly passionate, incredibly feisty, and not somebody to be messed with. So, you know, she's constantly, when she finds him, she's constantly holding him accountable. There's nothing that is, oh, woe is me about her, which is very interesting. She makes a few choices I probably wouldn't make, which makes her interesting to play. And she's got a good heart. She's got a very good heart. And you know, when she tries to get him to repent, not because she loves him, just because that's what she believes in life. And I think that shows true testament to her character. And I think at the end of it, in the epilogue, I think she ends up at a convent.
Yeah, or she wants to go to a convent or something like that.
I can't blame her, really.
Yeah.
Because that's quite the journey to be on with quite the individual. Like once bitten, in her case, once shy, I'm thinking.
Well, I love how you talk about her journey and how she is kind of a glass half full type of person, all things considered.
Yeah.
One of the first things I do whenever I go to Manitoba Opera is flip through the program to find Rory Reynolds' always insightful perspectives. And this perspective is dedicated to Elvira's journey. And he references how it is the most difficult journey of self-discovery. As an artist, that has to be a lot of fun as well as a challenge.
Well, it is, because if you think about it, her journey musically, she's got this fiery, passionate music. And then she's got these really introspective moments. And the introspective moments are when she goes in to the place where she fell in love with him. And Mozart wrote it beautifully, but she always has this constant battle. I mean, even in the fiery moments, she has moments where she talks about how she fell in love with him, you know, and the top of the second act when she doesn't know that he's mocking her, but she's adamant about not falling in love with him again, but she can't help it because these feelings keep coming up in her, and it's written in the orchestration. So as a singer, you just have to ride what Mozart gives you, you know, and just dive into the text. And everything else takes care of itself, which is why it's very, very interesting. Yeah. It's very well laid out, put it that way. It's very well laid out. If you just do what Mozart asked, the character will take care of itself.
He had a real knack for that, didn't he?
Yes.
Andrea, unlike Donna Elvira, who has experienced Don Giovanni in full, I guess we could call it, Zerlina's introduction to him is in the midst of the opera. What can you tell us about your character?
I think that she's just young and she's naive. She's never encountered someone. I don't think she's encountered someone who's as smooth as Don Giovanni ever. I think she's used to being sort of not in control of Mazzetto, but she knows how to work him, and she's sort of like, she knows how to manipulate a situation. And then all of a sudden, here comes this dashingly tall, handsome man who smells nice and who uses super flowery language, and who's a much higher class than she is. In our version, he's a matador, so he's popular. He's like a celebrity, and I think she's sort of taken off guard, and she's trying to. I think she's young and she's trying to be polite, and she just doesn't really know that she's actually way out of her league. Like, you know, and she loses control quite quickly. And then Elvira comes on and quickly rectifies that. And I think she really does love Mazzetto. I think she's simple. She's of lower class. Her music is all very simple. It's all kind of peasant-y. Like, there's nothing. It's not like Donna Anna's music or Elvira's music at all. It's very like, and here's like antecedent consequent. It's just like, here we go. And that's kind of fun to actually to get to just explore that innocence and that sort of that wide-eyed wonder of the world a little bit. She's smart.
You just picked the wrong guy.
I don't think she's dumb necessarily, but she's not. I mean, if you gave her like 10 years and she met a guy like Don Giovanni, she'd probably react very differently. But, you know, we've all been 16 and dumb at some point, and so that's just where she's at.
And been charmed. It's easy to be 16 and be charmed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love how the first time that you two come together on stage, and Andrea, you just referenced it, Donna Elvira offers Zerlina advice, like, talk about an instructor-student relationship. Like, it just comes together so beautifully. I don't know who planned that, but it's just like, hey, hold on. Pay attention here. It's not even so much advice. It's just a warning is really what it is. Yeah. The last thing I want to ask the two of you is about this production. I mean, it's a brand new one that premiered with Edmonton last year. It's here in Winnipeg. What's it like working with Oriol Tomas? What's this production like to each of you?
He's, I've never worked with him before, and I have to say I really admire him. He is an exceptional director, and he's also an exceptional human being. Like, he is so even keel, so kind. He gets what he needs, and he gets his point across very, very quickly and very effortlessly. And he's the kind of person that makes you do exactly what it is that he wants from you, what he asks, because it's not drama. He doesn't come at it from a dramatic perspective. He comes at it from an actual, genuine, internal perspective about all of the characters. And I think that really reads on stage. There was nothing about acting, I mean, other than Leporello, who has to, you know, he has to be Don G's sidekick, right? But for the rest of us, he allowed us to all approach our characters from a very, very genuine perspective. I like the concept. I think it's very interesting. I love the costumes. I think the overall modern aspect, yet not modern, because he didn't take it out of its time, I think it really works for this production. And I think it's something that, as opposed to having a traditional production of it, makes people view the opera differently and the characters differently. And I don't want to give a spoiler alert, but the ending as well. I mean, it allows you to make your own decisions. There's a lot of this production that allows you as a listener and as somebody watching it to draw your own conclusions about everybody's relationships, as opposed to it all being somewhat fed to you, if that makes sense.
No, I also thoroughly enjoyed the concept. I loved the period but not period. I didn't know where we were. There were times I thought we were in the 70s. There were times I thought we were in the 17th century. I couldn't place it. Andrea, what's it been like for you? I mean, to take your Manitoba Opera debut in a new production, that's pretty thrilling stuff.
It's very exciting. I quite enjoyed working with Oriole. I found him, like you said, very kind, very genuine. And I thought it was kind of interesting, sort of the journey that we took with Zerlina. It was, is she sassy? Is she flirty? Does she enjoy the attention? And so we sort of like played with those ideas. And it wasn't like we stuck with one. I think that it sort of evolved based on what the other characters were doing. And it was like, you're not just playing your character, you're listening. And he wanted a lot of play between the characters. That was something he really stressed.
The relationships.
Yeah, he wanted to see this like back and forth between Zerlina and Mazzetto and Zerlina and Don Giovanni and all the other characters, even when you're not singing, even when someone else is singing. And then that way, it just like adds on so many layers. So that was really fun for me. To get to explore that and to sort of go from maybe a Zerlina that was feisty and flirty to maybe one who was a little bit more nervous to maybe one who was sort of a mix of both, depending on how she felt in the situation, how in control she felt. So that was that was really fun.
Sorry, this made me think of something. What I really appreciated about his concept of Elvira was, quite often Elvira's played as the kind of the crazy lady.
Yeah, the jilted lover,
crazy jilted lover,
over the top.
The stalker that shows up. And he, right from the get-go, said, absolutely not. As an audience, we want to like you, and we want to be empathetic and sympathetic with you. So there is nothing about her that is that. And I was like, thank you.
Well, people are just going to have to go and see the show. Thank you both for coming in.
Thanks.
It's a real pleasure seeing you both.
It's great.
Now, you are going to have 2 more chances to see Mozart's Don Giovanni, Manitoba Opera's production, Tuesday, that's tomorrow, November 27th at 7 p.m., and Friday, November 30th at 7:30. For more information, visit mbopera.ca.